Okay, what I have here is the Honeywell RTH 221 programmable thermostat. This is the basic model, and I get this question every year. My wife asks me, how do I override what you set? Because this can be set 4 different ways for one day: wake, leave, return, and sleep. But all she's interested in is lowering the temperature and keep it that way. So I told her every year what you do is you press the up or down key here to raise or lower the temperature. So in this case, if you wanted to set it to 62, after you set it, press hold. So it will hold that temperature until you change it again. So from now on, the temperature will be 62 regardless of your previous setting. And then to change it all back to your previous program, all you have to do is press run. And then you'll be back to your previous programming. So this is the question I get asked every year, and I think it's the word hold that confuses people. If you say override, I think people would understand better. How do you override this? You override it by setting the temperature and then pressing hold, which in a lot of people's mind is override. Anyway, so that's the question I get asked every year. But there's another question that no one asks, and I don't even ask myself that question, and that is, what is the differential on the thermostat? How do you set the differential? The differential is by degrees, but on a thermostat like this one here, is by cycles per hour. So you either have the boiler or thermostat on 3 times an hour, 4 times an hour, 5 times, 6 times, or 2 times. So my thermostat was set at 5 times, which is not the suggested number of cycles per hour. For my heating system, which is a hot water system, the recommended is 3 cycles per hour. If you have too low a differential, you cause short cycling. If you have too high a differential, then you use more energy. So for my heating system, is 3 cycles per hour. So how do you set this on this particular thermostat? You have to go into advanced mode to do that. And to do that, to do this, you have to turn off your heating system, right? And then on the right hand side here, you have 2 keys, but the idea is you press and hold this for 5 seconds, and then you would go into the selection mode to select how many cycles per second. So the selection mode for cycles per second is function number 5, and 3 is 3 cycles per hour, and you can change it to 4. I had it on 5 before, but that's not the recommended one. The recommended one for hot water is 3. So this is how it is set. So if you have a boiler or furnace long enough, sooner or later you'll run into this problem here, which is the most common problem for your furnace or boiler not working, and it is the ignition. In this case, This one here is a combination flame sensor and igniter. This here is a hot surface igniter, and for this setup here you would have a different flame sensor, which is this part here. So this was taken from my sister's broken hot surface igniter. You can see it's broken. Otherwise it would look like this. This is the same, more or less the same thing you find in a clothes dryer. The gas would ignite after this glows. It gets orange and really hot, and then it ignites the gas. And for my boiler, this is the combo unit here. This is the gas pilot, also the flame sensor here, igniter. And most of your ignition problem comes from here, because this electrode here is dirty. So over time it would have some contaminants on it, and what they always recommend is to clean it. And you can use a scrubber like this, except don't use the green one. 3M makes the blue one, which is less abrasive. And then you just slightly rub the length of this rod here. This is a flame sensing rod. And then the ignition problem would be solved. And usually on your boiler or furnace, you would get like a error code. For some of the brine ones, the gas furnace would be like 14 or 34. It would have a blinking LED light. The first blink, short blink, is for the first number, and the long blink is for the second number. So by how many flashes you would know what the error code is, and then you can see what the problem is. And for my boiler, I actually get a digital display, so I don't have to guess. I look at it. If it's at low flame current, then I know that there's a problem with the igniter. Maybe the cable, there's a problem. You see here, this looks like a spark plug, right? Because it is a spark plug. When your boiler or furnace goes on, for my boiler it's a Burnham, it would get a high voltage here, and sparks would come out here, and you actually hear hissing noise or sparkling noise. So actually this is trying to ignite the gas which is coming out from here. So this is part of the ignition process, and if this fails, your boiler or furnace is not going to start. So this is the most common problem, and all you have to do is clean this part. Or if you want to replace it, I bought like a spare one, but of course you have to find someone that knows how to work with plumbing or gas plumbing to do this, like a heating contractor, because you do have to take the gas line off here from the gas valve. So you can let your plumber do this part, or HVAC technician do this part. But for cleaning, you can certainly clean this. Turn off your furnace or boiler, take off the cover, and then clean it, put it back in, and your furnace might miraculously work again. So this is the most common problem, and I hope we all can get through this winter, and in a couple of months it will be spring and will be warm and comfortable all over. All right, have a great new year.